Hello, how are you? My name is Mifta. In this video I will be reviewing the RX 580 ASUS ROG graphics card. With a memory size of 8GB, but it is not the original version, rather it is the version displayed on AliExpress website. The price of this card is approximately $75. As usual, I will give my frank opinion about this card because it is a trust and responsibility. If you want to buy this card or if you want to know more details, I will provide you with this in this video. First, it is important to mention something important, which is that this card is completely different from the original ROG cards. Many people believe that this card is sold as a used or refurbished card on AliExpress. But in reality, the card is just an imitation like other Chinese copies that I believe everyone has seen. You will discover that as soon as you touch the card, the manufacturing quality is very poor, especially the upper plastic. And also the card shakes from almost all areas and you feel that it is not sturdy at all. And this is unusual in ROG cards. The weight of the card is relatively light and comes without a backplate or rear shield, which is considered to help with cooling and durability. For information only, the originals of the card have a back shield. In regards to the cooling fans, there are two of them on the 90mm card, accompanied by the ASUS and ROG logos, as shown. As for the ports, the card includes the following connections: one DVI, one HDMI, and finally a DisplayPort. And this is slightly different from what is found in the original versions, as it contains two HDMI ports along with two DisplayPorts, along with one DVI port. I tested the card on the following components: ASUS Gaming B450 motherboard, 4600G processor, 2 RAM modules of 8GB each. Storage includes a 500GB SATA SSD and a regular 500GB hard drive with a speed of 7200 RPM. I downloaded the latest driver for the graphics card from the official AMD website, and indeed, the card was recognized as an RX 580, but with the 2048 SP Stream processors variant. In reality, the 2048 SP variant indicates that it has 2048 stream processors. This means that the card is not genuine because authentic RX 580 cards come with the RX 580 designation only. Unfortunately, the card does not appear on the Tech Power Up website. For this I used GPU-Z software to view the specs of the card. The manufacturing precision of the card is 14 nanometers, with 2048 stream processors. This is different from what is found in genuine cards, as authentic cards usually contain 2304 stream processors. The frequency of the card is 1284 MHz with a memory size of 8GB. I tried the firmware temperature test and after only 3 minutes of use the temperature reached 80 degrees Celsius. As for the fan speeds, they were at 1800 RPM. The result may seem very poor, but the issue is not solely with the graphics card. The high room temperature and living in a desert area without air conditioning contribute to the problem. To fix the issue, I adjusted the fan speeds to lower the temperature. Additionally, I reduced the power consumption of the graphics card by 10%. I also ran the fans at a -5% speed to avoid any problems. While I can achieve more accurate results by manually tweaking the settings, even this approach proved to be effective. This time, the temperature dropped to 75 degrees, which is not the best, but it's an improvement overall. As for the fan noise, it was slightly louder than before, but it's not a significant issue. These are some of the games I tried. Let's start with Cyberpunk 2077, and the settings were at 1080p with high graphics settings. The average frame rate was around 33 frames per second, which is a bit low. To be honest, however, we were still able to play and the experience was enjoyable, especially with a stable frame rate close to 30 frames per second. But the situation changed when I enabled the FSR, Fidelity FX Super Resolution, technology. The performance improved by about 50%, which is an excellent number. The frame rates were close to 50 frames per second this time, but I must admit that the graphics became less sharp. However, overall the experience was acceptable for a card with a price of $70. I got a bit excited and raised the resolution to 1440p while turning off the FSR, Fidelity FX Super Resolution, to get a sharper image. This time, the frame rates were quite low, around 20 frames per second, but the graphics became extremely impressive. Now, let's move on to another game. Grand Theft Auto 5 at 1440p on high settings, averaging more than 70 frames per second. However, it is well known that Grand Theft Auto 5 delivers good performance on Polaris-based graphics cards. At 1080p the performance was excellent, averaging more than 100 frames per second. It ran very smoothly. I tried the first version of Dying Light at 1440p with high settings, but the frame rate didn't reach 50 frames per second. I was expecting better results since the game is old. We managed to achieve 60 frames per second when lowering the resolution to 1080p only. CSGO at 1080p with high settings achieved around 200 frames per second, but the result is not accurate because the processor is slightly weak. However, the issue is not specifically with the processor, as EA Sports games tend to put constant pressure on the processor. The takeaway from this video is whether I recommend a graphics card or not. Personally, I would prefer the genuine version, even if it's used in the end. The decision is yours. Dear viewer, if you enjoyed the video, please support us with a like and subscribe to stay updated with our latest content. See you in the next video.